Welcome back to Crypto Giant. I want to start this one by admitting something that took me an embarrassingly long time to understand. For years, every time my trading wasn't working, my instinct was to add something. A new indicator, a new strategy I'd seen someone post online, more pairs on the watch list, more hours in front of the screen, more setups. I was convinced that the thing standing between me and a profitable account was something I hadn't learned yet. One more piece of the puzzle I just needed to go find. It wasn't. The thing that finally turned my trading around wasn't something I added. It was 6 things I stopped doing. And the moment I started removing instead of piling on, the noise cleared and the results slowly followed. So today, I'm not handing you a new system. I'm going to walk you through the 6 habits I had to cut, the ones that were quietly keeping me unprofitable. And I'm going to explain why each one does so much damage, so you can recognize it in your own trading. Be honest with yourself as we go through these. If one of them stings a little, that's probably the one to work on first. Let's get into it. 1. I stopped counting the money before the trade was even on. This was the first habit I had to kill, and it's the one I see in almost every new trader. Here's what it looks like. You spot a setup. Before price has done a single thing in your favor, before you're even in, you've already opened the calculator. If Bitcoin runs to here, that's a few thousand. If it pushes to that level, that's double. You're picturing the close, the screenshot, what you'll do with the profit. You're living in the best case version of the trade before the trade exists. I did this constantly in my early days, and it feels harmless, even motivating. It isn't. The moment you start counting the upside, you've quietly handed yourself a bias. You've decided how this ends, and now your brain goes looking for everything that agrees with you. You stop weighing the case against the trade. You stop respecting the level that would prove you wrong. And the very first thing to get sacrificed, every single time, is the stop. I can't tell you how many times I sat there with a clean invalidation level marked out, decided the trade was obviously going to work, and either widened my stop or pulled it off entirely because I'd already mentally spent the money. That's not trading anymore. That's hoping with size on. So here's the shift that fixed it for me, and it's the way I want you to think about every position. A trade isn't defined by what you'll make. It's defined by where you're wrong. Before I look at a single target, I find my invalidation, the level where the idea is dead, and I decide what I'm willing to lose to find out if I'm right. The upside is the last thing I look at, not the first. When you build the trade around your downside instead of your daydream, the stop stops being optional. And that one change protects you from most of the damage a bad trade can do. 2. I stopped jumping to a new strategy every time one had a rough patch. When I was newer, my edge had the shelf life of a carton of milk. I'd find a strategy that worked. It would print for a week, maybe 2. I'd feel like I'd cracked the code, and then it would hit a rough patch. A few losers in a row. And instead of asking a single useful question, I'd throw the whole thing out and go hunting for the next one. New strategy, new indicator, new setup off the internet. I told myself I was being adaptive. I was just running in circles. Here's the problem with strategy hopping. Every strategy, even a genuinely good one, goes through losing stretches. That's not a malfunction, that's just variance. It's how probability works over a small sample. So when you abandon a strategy the second it has a bad week, you never give any edge enough time to actually prove itself. You're permanently stuck at the starting line, collecting half-learned systems and mastering none of them. What I do now, the moment something stops working, is stop and diagnose before I touch anything. I ask 3 questions. Am I the problem? Am I executing it sloppily, skipping rules, forcing it? Did the market regime change? Was this a trend-following edge that's now stuck in a choppy, ranging market it was never built for? Or is this simply a normal losing stretch I have to sit through? Most of the time, the strategy was fine. The market had shifted, or I drifted from my own rules. That's a completely different fix than throwing it away. Keep your playbook tight. A couple of setups you understand deeply will always beat 10 you only understand on the surface. Develop the edge instead of constantly replacing it. 3. I stopped trying to pick the exact top and the exact bottom. This one is close to my heart because it's the most expensive habit I ever had, and it's pure price action psychology. We've all done it. Price is ripping higher, candle after candle, and a voice in your head goes, "This has come too far. It has to be the top." So you short into it. Or it's the opposite. Price is bleeding lower and lower, and you think, surely this is the bottom. Nothing drops forever, and you start catching the falling knife with longs. Let me show you what that actually looks like on a chart. Watch what price does here. It's in a strong uptrend, pushing into a level, and it is getting high. So the temptation to fade it is enormous. So you short right here because it can't go higher. And notice what happens. It stalls for a moment, and then it just keeps going. It runs straight through, and your short is offside before it ever had a chance. There was nothing in the price action telling you the trend was over. You shorted a feeling, not a signal. Now flip it, because the same trap works upside down. Price is in a clean downtrend, and you decide it's too low to keep falling. So you long it down here. Same outcome. It grinds lower, and the move you were trying to catch the bottom of just keeps eating your position. The mistake is identical in both directions. You tried to call the turn instead of letting the market show you the turn. Here's what I had to accept, and it genuinely changed my results. Price is never too high or too low. A trend goes until it's actually done, and done is something the market confirms. A break of structure, a clear reversal, a level that finally holds and gets respected. Until you see that too high and too low are just opinions, and the market does not care about your opinion. And the second half of this lesson, you do not need the exact top or the exact bottom to make money. Some of my best trades caught the middle of a move. I missed the first leg waiting for confirmation, and I was out before the final blow-off. And they were the cleanest, lowest stress trades I've ever taken. Our job isn't to nail the perfect turn. It's to take a confirmed, well-defined piece of a move with our risk capped over and over again. Leave the wicks for the people getting stopped out trying to catch them. 4. I stopped setting profit goals. This one feels completely backwards when you first hear it, so let me explain it carefully. Because dropping profit goals was one of the most freeing things I ever did. In my early years, I lived by money targets. This month, I need to make this much. This quarter, I need to hit that number. By the end of the year, I need to be here. It felt disciplined. It felt like what a serious trader does. Here's why it quietly sabotages you. In almost any other career or job, working harder produces more output. You can grind your way to a number. Trading doesn't obey that rule because you don't supply the opportunities. The market does. Some weeks it hands you clean, obvious setups. Other weeks it's flat and choppy, and there is genuinely nothing worth touching. Opportunity is not evenly distributed, and it does not care what your monthly target is. So picture this. You've set a number for the month. 3 weeks in, the market's been dead and you're nowhere near it. What does that goal now do to your psychology? It pushes you to manufacture trades, to force setups that aren't there, to oversize, to catch up. The goal that was supposed to drive you is now actively making you trade worse. Overtrading, chasing, breaking your own rules to chase a number the market was never going to give you that month. So I stopped setting money goals entirely. Instead, every one of my goals is now about the process, the part I actually control. Refine my entries, tighten up my exits, follow my plan without deviating, journal every trade, scale my size up slowly as I stay consistent. Those are the goals. The money stopped being the target and became the byproduct of doing the process well. And the irony is, the moment I stopped chasing the number took care of itself. 5. I stopped swinging for home runs. Every trader who's been at this a while knows the home run trade. It's the one where you look at a setup and think, this one's different. I'm confident. I'm sizing up. And you take a position 3, 5, 10 times bigger than anything in your plan, because this is the one. I need you to really sit with the math on this, because it's the part the fantasy skips over. To make a windfall, you have to risk a windfall. There's no version where you put up tiny risk and walk away with a life-changing number. The market doesn't work that way. So the instant you decide you want the home run, you've already decided to take on far more risk than your account should carry. You just haven't admitted it to yourself yet. And here's what actually happens when you do it. The one thing you alter is your size. The setup might even be fine, but you've gone in heavy because you're sure. And the moment you do that, everything you know goes out the window. Your risk management is gone. Your edge is gone. Your plan is gone. You're now fully exposed to a single outcome you've convinced yourself is guaranteed. And nothing in this market is guaranteed. One trade like that can erase weeks of disciplined work. And I learned that the hard way more than once. The reframe that fixed it, I stopped thinking in home runs and started thinking in singles. Fixed, controlled risk on every trade. A defined downside I've accepted before I click. And then I repeat that consistently and let it compound. A profitable account isn't built on one heroic trade. It's built on a boring, repeatable process that doesn't blow up. If you ever catch yourself sizing up because this one's different, that's your signal to step back, not lean in. 6. I stopped following other people's signals without understanding them. I'll close on this one because it's everywhere in crypto, and it keeps more people stuck than almost anything else. You've seen them, the signal groups, the Telegram channels, the Discords, buying here, selling there, targets this, stops that. And I want to be fair, I don't have a problem with these services existing. The problem is how most new traders use them. They copy the call with zero understanding of why it was taken. No idea what the setup was, where the real invalidation is, or what the person was actually reading. There are 2 reasons that quietly wrecks you. The first is simple. Most signals just aren't very good. Genuinely solid, consistent callers are rare, and the noise vastly outnumbers them. But the second reason is the one that matters even more. Even when you find a good one, copying blindly teaches you nothing, and it leaves you helpless. Because the second that trade moves against you, you have no plan. You didn't reason your way in, so you have no idea whether to hold, cut, or add. You're just staring at someone else's position with your money in it, waiting to be told what to do. So if you're going to use these services, use them as a window into someone's thinking, not as a button to copy. When they take a trade, do the work. Why did they take it here? Where's the level? What's the invalidation? Can I rebuild that logic myself from the chart? If you can't reconstruct the reasoning, you haven't learned anything. You've just gambled with extra steps. The whole point of everything I teach on this channel is to make you the person who can read the chart, build the trade, and manage it on your own. So you never have to outsource your decisions to a stranger in a group chat again. To recap, the 6 things I had to stop doing. Let me bring it all together. 1. I stopped counting the money before the trade was on. Build the trade around your invalidation, not your daydream. 2. I stopped strategy hopping. When a strategy stops performing well, diagnose it before you abandon it. 3. I stopped trying to pick exact tops and bottoms. Price is never too high or too low. Wait for confirmation and take the meat of the move. 4. I stopped setting profit goals. Set process goals you control and let the money follow. 5. I stopped swinging for home runs. Fixed, controlled risk, repeated. Singles compound, blowups don't. 6. I stopped copying other people's calls blindly. Learn the reasoning or don't take the trade. And notice the thread running through all 6. I didn't fix my trading by adding more. I fixed it by taking things away. So if you're in a slump right now, and we all hit them, try resisting the urge to go find one more indicator or one more system. Instead, make your own list of what to stop doing and start removing them one at a time. It's the single most reliable way I know to get unstuck. If this one hit home, do me a favor and drop a comment. Tell me which of the 6 you're still guilty of, or a habit you had to cut that I didn't mention. I read them and they genuinely shape what I cover next. If you got value from this, a like and a subscribe help more people find these lessons, and turn on notifications so you know when the next one's up.